first of all, the basic thing is that Edwards saw this response to God, and he'd go out in the fields and contemplate God and Christ and look for sort of signs of what he called sign. He kept a notebook of signs of divine things, but then one kind of response would be just to be singing, because in classic Christianity, the creation of the world is often represented as like a symphony that God is bringing the harmonies of God's goodness that can be seen in reality if we have the eyes to see it. Anyway, so and Edwards loved singing. He and his wife sang together, and in New England churches, the singing had been dreadful originally, because the Puritans were very strict on the idea of the Bible alone. If the Bible didn't prescribe something, they didn't think it should happen. So they sang only the Psalms, and they didn't have musical instruments. For the first 100 years of Puritan settlements in New England, they just had someone would, a leader would start the song, and then people would just sort of sing away without any tunefulness, and apparently was really awful. Anyway, Edwards was part of a movement to at least introduce 4-part harmony. They still didn't have musical instruments, but they had 4-part harmony. And if you've ever been to a Church of Christ gathering, they don't have musical instruments, but they have wonderful singing with the harmonies that a cappella singing can have. So Edwards promoted that in his congregation as a way of getting some spiritual intensity into the singing in the worship. And of course, since then we've run with that, sometimes well and sometimes not so well. But anyway, his music was very important to him, because he saw that as a way of seeing the harmonies of goodness, of proper relationships, that proper love is proper relationships, and proper music is right relationships, and he also thought he observes that in heaven the music will be way better than anything we can imagine, because we're limited by he said the gross harmonies or the harmonies limited to our gross air, that there's only a certain number of notes that we can do, whereas if you have an infinite number of notes, you can have infinite kinds of music. I don't know about but it's interesting thought, but it does reflect how music and harmonies is a way of thinking about what are proper love relationships. How should that work?